Hello, Year One. It's so nice to see you. My name's Mr. Smith. You might have seen me around school before we broke up, but I don't think I've ever taught Year One. So, just to introduce myself, I'm Mr. Smith, and the subject that I've always taught has been RE, which stands for Religious Education, looking at different religions. So, that's what we're going to do over the next half term. I'm going to make some videos. You should have your booklet for this half term. That looks like this that we can use, and we're going to learn about this amazing experience that people who are called Muslims go on. And a Muslim is someone whose faith or their belief or their religion is called Islam. So we're going to talk a lot about Muslims and we're going to talk a lot about Islam. But today's lesson is called What is the Hajj? And that is a really interesting word. Hajj. It's spelled H-A-J-J. And do you know what? There aren't really any other words in our language that have two J's next to each other. So it's quite an unusual word to pronounce. So we could say it together. We could say ha-j, ha-j, hajj. Try saying it. Try saying ha-j, Hajj. Okay, and the reason why it's such an unusual word is because it's not an English word. It's actually a word from a language called Arabic. So it's a word from a different language altogether. Let's have a look. Okay, what is a pilgrimage? Pilgrimage. Probably not a word that you know. So let's find out what it means. A pilgrimage is a special religious journey that people make. So it's a journey, a trip that people who have a religion go on. So Muslims go on a special religious journey called the Hajj that we're going to look at. But before we do that, let's look at some other religions. Lots of religions have pilgrimages. Maybe you could try saying the word pilgrimages. Pilgrimage. Pilgrimage. Brilliant, amazing. Okay, so Christians in England have been travelling to a city called Canterbury to see the cathedral for hundreds of years. And here we have lots of people going on this trip. This is from a really famous book called The Canterbury Tales. And it tells the story of these people hundreds of years ago getting on their horses and going from the city of London that we live in and going on this pilgrimage to Canterbury. And you've got rich people and poor people. You've got people who are cooks. You've got people who are kings. People who are what are called monks, which are special religious people. All sorts of people. So that's an example of Christian pilgrimage to Canterbury. Let's have a look at another example. This is a city called Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is in a country called Israel, and it's where Jewish people go. Oh, Jewish people and Christian people, and in fact Muslim people also go to Jerusalem. So when we get to, I think, year 3, we're going to learn all about Jerusalem and how amazing it is and how all these different religions go there. But it's a really interesting city that people go and visit. Here we go. So this is where Hindu people go on a pilgrimage. And Hindu people go to somewhere called the River Ganges in India. And what they do is they go there and they wash themselves in the special water of the River Ganges. So that's what they're doing in this picture. Can you see how they're all on these steps leading down to the river and people are washing themselves in the special water? Really interesting. What's next? Okay, this is a really interesting question. Why? Why do you think people got on horses and went all the way to Canterbury hundreds of years ago and still do it today? Why do you think people want to go to Jerusalem, to a big city with lots of churches and mosques and temples? And why do you think people want to go to the River Ganges? Let's have a look. Well, it helps them to feel closer to their God. So these people of all these religions believe in God, and they think that going on a pilgrimage helps them to feel closer to God. It's really important for them to visit special holy sites. So lots of people over hundreds of years have been going on this pilgrimage, whether it's to Hajj or Canterbury or the Ganges. And it's really important for them to continue this tradition, continue to visit these sites. And as I say, it's been a tradition for hundreds of years to go on these special journeys. So that's why people keep doing it. And in your booklet for today, you can see two really interesting questions. Well, the first question is quite easy. We looked at Christian, Jewish and Hindu pilgrimages, but what religion are we going to focus on? And the answer to that is Islam, which is I-S-L-A-M, Islam. And then, why do people go on a pilgrimage? So you can write about that, and you could think about a special journey that you might like to go on. You could think about somewhere maybe that's not religious, but where you would like to go. I know for me, I'd love to go to the park, or I'd love to go to an art gallery at the moment to go and see some art, but I can't because of the lockdown, which is really sad. But you could think about where you might like to go when this is over, what kind of special places there are for you. Brilliant. Well, let's have a look at the next slide. Okay, this is what we're going to look at. So this is the pilgrimage of Hajj that Muslim people go on to a city called Mecca that we'll look at next lesson. Look at all those people. Millions of people go on the Hajj. It is a really, really, really big pilgrimage that happens every year that we're going to learn about. So I'm really looking forward to teaching you about that. I'll talk to you more about it next lesson. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. It's been lovely teaching you, and I'll see you then. Bye, guys.